Hello and welcome to another episode of In a Nutshell. My name is Nils, and today, Energy Empire, the Manhattan Project from Minion Games. Yeah, everybody knows probably the Manhattan Project, the original, and this is Energy Empire. And this is not an expansion as you maybe think about of. No, it's a solo game and it has barely something to do with Manhattan Project, but I'm coming to that later, what's similar to the Manhattan Project and what's not, but it's a complete new game. And this is what's in the box and how it looks like. So you have three different stacks of cards, yellow, brown and green. Here you see a green area, a brown area and a yellow area. I come to that in a second. Here is pollution tokens here. These tokens here are pollution. You have covered 3 green cards and 3 red cards. These are the time triggers of the game. 3 times you have a global early event that's usually good, and then you have 3 times a bad and negative red event. And whenever one of these stacks runs out, one of these events trigger. Let's take a look at one of these events. First of all, you get a interim scoring. So in this case, each single cloud is scored. Then one of the markets will be replenished, and then you have a global effect as well. Over the course of the game, you have 6 cards here, again 3 green and 3 red ones, and sometimes you can peek at these events to anticipate and see what will be the final scoring. What else do we have? We have oil rigs here, tokens for that. We have customized dice with energy on it and some pollution symbols and numbers. We have achievement tokens here, they are laying out here. We have player boards that's just a thick paper. Then each player has workers and energy tokens. Energy tokens are these lightnings. Workers have different outfits, but all the same. Here you can store stuff. I will show you in a second. You have different nations. First of all, it's different starting abilities, and United Nations. You can participate in the United Nations with different things you have to spend for. And then you have steel, really cool wooden pieces, plastic, which are plastic cubes. Funny, or isn't it? These pink cubes and oil barrels here, they are really cool as well, as you can see. So the tokens are top notch. We have a currency, what is whatever that is, dollar, and science tokens. Science tokens are the only ones that are not fancy. I don't know exactly why. At each of these 3 area sections of the board, green, brown, and yellow, has 3 cards, and they will be replenished. Whenever this card is bought, they will slide down. When this card is, they will slide down, and you flip over another card. In theory, it's a normal worker placement game. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different worker spots. And in general, you place 1 worker here to take the action. These top action always means you can buy one of these cards. To buy these cards, easy peasy, spend either 1 steel or $2, 3 or 1 steel, or $4 and 2 steel, and so on. Here you spend plastic or money, and here you spend science or money. However, in most worker placement games, this spot is now blocked. Not in Energy Empire. In Energy Empire, each player, including yourself, can go again to the same spot, but then you have to spend, instead of 1, 2 workers. And workers can be stacked on top of energy. So you take an energy and a worker, or simply 2 workers, and place them here. But on top there must be always a worker, a guy. But you can stack them. The next person who has to go there must pay 3. What you're doing on your turn is simple. Let's assume I have 4 workers and 6 energy in my resource pile, and I wanted to, as shown before, stack 1 energy on top of 1 worker to acquire one of these cards. Again, I have to pay either $2 or a steel, and then I acquire them. So you can place one of these actions on the main board, or I explain in a second. But once you did that, you take a look in which color that was. That was in brown, not in green and not in yellow. That was in the brown area. So therefore I can activate all of my brown buildings, including the one I just purchased, and my nation card. I cannot use my green card. And how you use your cards is simple. Let's take a couple of workers and a couple of energy here to show you. For example, to activate this card, I need two either energy or workers or a mixture. So I put 2 on it here, and then I will get a steel and a science. To activate this, I put 2 energy on it here, and I can transfer 1 cube into 1 science and $2. And now I get another steel and another science here. If I have more, which I still have here, take a look at that, I could now take a barrel and turn it into 2 plastic, and again 1 plastic here. So as you can see, and I needed 2, and if I would have even 1 more, I could also use my power from here and turn a plastic into and $2 into a nation point. As you can see, I get for 1 barrel 2 plastic, turn the plastic into something else, get a lot of steel, and so on. So you really build an engine. And what you can do is, and this is similar to Manhattan Project, you can place 1 action on the main board and as many according colored actions as you want. So in this case, I placed it in brown, and I take brown. The alternative is to do that if you're running out of meeples / workers and energy, or you don't want to place any longer, then you simply pass and recall all your workers. In this case, you get all your workers back, put them here, all the workers you have previously acquired, so you can build more workers over the course of the game. But all the energy tokens you spend, all of them, they are simply temporary. They are going out of the game for the round, and now what you're doing is you are taking your dice. You collect over the course of the game these dice here. And oil, which is brown, can be transferred into petroleum dials into these brown dice. Now you take all your dice and roll the dice. Again, that is the option, either placing your guys, 1 guy on the main board and all according colors, or recall all your guys. Keep in mind, when you recall your guys, you are opening spots for other players and make spots cheaper. What happens when you roll the dice? You simply first of all count the lightning symbols. Here you have 3. Take a look at the 5, but that's in a second. So 3, another 3 is 6, 8, 10, 11. However, you only have a max of 10, so you would get 10 of the energy back as temporary workers for the next round. Not really workers, energy. And then you take the highest die, which is this brown one here. Highest means the highest number is a 6, and you take a look, there's pollution. So you take the pollution, and every time you're taking pollution, you take the pollution from here, from this track, and put it here on your player board and cover either air, forest, or water. And this is how the game is balanced. Either you place 1 worker there and activate accordingly all the same colored buildings. If you wish, you don't have to, but if you wish, and usually you wish, or recall your workers and roll the dice and get sometimes pollution. Blue and green dice are environment friendly dice. They don't have pollution. Brown is oil that has always pollution, and yellow is atomic. They have even atomic radioactive pollution, so that's on the other side. That's count as 2 pollution, but only cover 1 spot. How many lightning bolts can you out of it? You can see it from this chart, and you can see here, here, and here you get always pollution or radioactive tokens. When you recall and you have at least 2 workers or lightning here, you get a personal achievement, and these personal achievements are victory points. This will be played until all the 6 stacks running out. That looks longer than it is. It's usually a between 60 and 80 minutes game. I would say with 3, maybe with 4 player, it's 90 minutes. 1.5 hours, but then you should be done, probably under 1.5 hour. And then you play one final round and determine who is the winner. And determine the winner is simply whatever is counted as victory points. Keep in mind you got over the course of the game sometimes victory points as well. So each uncovered spot is a victory point, each single row is a victory point, each die is 2 victory points, and the cards having victory points as well. One thing that we have to mention with the cards is also when you acquire these cards, sometimes you get some pollution, like here you get an atomic in the forest, and that is worth 5 victory points. Yeah, that is a Manhattan Project Energy Empire from the rules. But now, as always, in a nutshell, let's talk about my personal experiences and if I liked it or not. Honestly, my personal expectations for Energy Empire was extremely high. I really love the Manhattan Project. I really love the system of you place one of your workers and activate a building on the main board and then activate all your personal buildings here or recall them. And I really like the timing of when do I have to recall my guys, reconsider my next turns, and playing a little bit this gamble of, oh, when I'm now taking back my guys, the other one gets probably a very cheap thing he needs. There's only one spot for getting these dice, and if there's, for an example, one green there, think about one red with one lightning bolt, and for an example I put here this high stack in here with green, or let's say a different color. So when I'm recalling that, now it's I'm getting that for the next person for free. But if someone before I'm recalling is paying 4 and then I recall, then it stays there and someone has to pay a higher cost. I would do so when I have a lot of dice and the other not, to have an advantage. If I have not a lot of dice, I'm probably thinking about, recalling it first to unlock the space, and even if someone else is getting there, I can still go there for just 2 over 3 or 4. So these are victory points and an income of energy, so dice are always good. I really like that, and I had extremely high expectations because of Manhattan Project, and Energy Empire delivers. In Energy Empire you get exactly the same feeling. You exactly get the same feeling, but they stripped off the completely aggressive part, which makes sense of the Manhattan Project as a theme of attacking the others with fighters and bombers. In Manhattan Project you always have this second game built in. Who strikes first? Whoever strikes first will be the victim of the second strike. So it's good to threaten your people with, I have so much bombers and fighters, but never really strike first. Otherwise you will be burnt down as well, and none of you is winning. So this player interaction is completely stripped out from Manhattan Project to Energy Empire. On one hand, it makes the game a little bit more like a solitary game, and there's not a lot of player interaction. You're also not allowed to play on players' buildings anymore, so only I can use my own buildings. The only player interaction is really from stealing worker placement spots and stealing, stealing is not the right word. You make it more cost efficient if you're going first and someone else has to go later. The other one is the United Nation track. Whoever gets here first gets 20 points. All the others can max out at 15 points, as you can here see on the stars. He has 15, 17, but the leader gets additional 3, so this is technically a 20-point spot. But honestly, that's not a big difference. And also these ones here, they are giving you points here, as you can see, 1 for each green building, but they are always maxed out at 5 points. That is here on the back side. I don't know why they put it on the back side, but all of these personal achievements are maxed out with 5 points. And we usually ended up with 80, 90 points-ish. So having 3 of them is probably 15. Having this one is having 25. It sounds like a good deal, but the other ones have 15 and 10 here, so they have 25 as well. So they have minus 15. If you have more buildings, that's probably more efficient, or if you have no pollution, that's efficient as well. So I have to say, after our first learning game, which was a little bit of rocky, and we have to understand all of that and understand the mechanisms and the energy building aspect, that these resources are technically worth nothing at the end of the game, except for you have achievements. So you wanted to get these resources, but you wanted to spend them and convert them into victory points at some point. Before we really understood the mechanism, we had a little bit of a learning curve in the first game, which is normal for a game of this size. But in the second, it flew so fast, so you can play your whole turn inside your head and don't have to spend a lot of time. You can pre-plan your whole turn and do whatever you want, and at some point you probably have only 4 yellow buildings. Let's assume I have this farm here and 3 other yellow buildings, and these are here for 2 workers. I get 2 coins and a victory point, and you will figure out if you have this victory point cards, and probably you have 2 of them. You may also have this one here, which gives you 1 coin and 1 victory point under yellow. And there's another one, this one here for an example, and you can all 3 of them, and you get 2 victory points. So then you have an engine, and you try to place every other turn on your yellow buildings to get 4 victory points. Keep in mind, you would do that 3 times in a row. Place 1 worker there, acquire a new building, or take one of these actions here. It doesn't matter to explain right now what it is. And then recall, get a personal achievement, and then place it in the meantime on these yellow buildings. Then you have really an engine that works for you, and you are getting victory points over the course of the game. You also get victory points from these intermediate scorings, and you fly over. So when you can manage to make the best engine out of your game, like this one for an example, you are in a pretty good shape. Sometimes you are not as lucky as, and you take one of these cards here first, the green ones, which allows you to reduce pollution and things like that. Here, this one for an example, and you try to clean it out, but there's no one other green card coming out that you really want. Then you have to be flexible and switch over to the other lanes. Again, my first game was really rocky, and from there on I really loved it. So from there on we all played it a couple of times, and it flew always just by, because we all pre-planned our turns, and it was so easy and so smooth. I have to say, I wish there would be a little bit more player interaction. There would be a little bit more Manhattan Project in terms of, oh, if someone has a real good engine, how can I stop that engine? How can I put my workers into their buildings? How can I use their cards? Can I probably steal cards, at least temporary, and block them like you do in Manhattan Project? So put a green one on there, even if it's not the green player who's on it, and this building is now blocked until someone else is, in this case green, is recalling his guys. I wish there would be a little bit more like this to balance it out. We run this a couple of times into a runaway leader situation, where someone after the 3rd or 4th card flipped over, having a really good engine built up, and then it was almost an auto win after 50% of the game. But even then, most of the players enjoyed to build their own engine and really liked and loved Energy Empire, the Manhattan Project. So what is the conclusion? The conclusion is easy. As I told you up front, my expectations were really high. I loved the game Manhattan Project, and I wished Energy Empire would be as good as. And honestly, it's even better. It's even better. It's unbelievable, but this game is even better. What makes this game even better? I cannot really say. The theme, I like the theme of keeping a little bit track of the environment and not pollution. I think that's a theme that is more state of the art, at least for me, instead of building atomic bombs. Is it the extraordinary cool looking resources? I mean, listen, they are really heavy. Is it the customized dice that are cool? Is it simply the fact that it feels it's a little bit faster, the playing? I don't know. I can say the production value of Energy Empire comparable to the price is so phenomenal. The the replayability determined by these cards, because there will never be ever the same combo of cards out there. The replayability by all these global events, all of that makes the game really outstanding. And again, I expected a lot, and Manhattan Project Energy Empire really delivered for me. What can I say more than thanks so much, Minion Games, for creating such a great game. Luke Laurie and Tom Jolly, thanks so much. This is an awesome worker placement game. If you're looking for an awesome worker placement game with high quality components for a really fair price, you should definitely look for Manhattan Project. And for me, it's an auto buy. You can go there and buy it right now. In my opinion, you don't even have to play test it before. The theme is appealing to almost everybody. The mechanics are easy, they are flying off. The only thing that is probably a little bit of critical is the rulebook. The rulebook looks intimidating. I will show it to you. So when you look inside, take a look. There's a lot of text. For me, it doesn't look, that's a lot of text in here. But honestly, it's pretty simple when you play it. But it looks like, oh gosh, there's a lot of rules in it. Why? But it's not. Again, here is every single achievement explained in a solitary variant. But honestly, it's easy. It's 17 pages. I know that's intimidating, but look for a rule video or just text me, mail me, and I will help you. Or simply find a friend in your group who is teaching you Energy Empire, and you will get a really great game. Thanks for watching. This is Nils, Cyrils Brettspiele, and we took another look at a In a Nutshell episode, this time the Manhattan Project Energy Empire from Minion Games. See you next time. Bye.